Don't just buy your RSO from some random dude on the internet. Seriously, don't. Because there's a lot of people fucking people over. And some unintentionally and some intentionally. There are people unintentionally doing it because they're getting product, meaning flour or biomass or shitty trim for cheap or free even, and then they're making RSO out of it. It doesn't have all the medicinal components when it's already been stripped through. They make things like concentrates, other concentrates out of trim or flour, and then they have leftovers that still have cannabinoids and terpenes in them, and they'll usually get you high and maybe help you sleep and maybe help with pain, but they're not what you want if you're healing from something serious. So be careful where you get it from. They don't often realize this stuff, and a lot of the times that flour is dirty. There's pesticides are rampantly abundantly used in the industry, and they make growing flour cheaper, and they make the flowers look better, but they end up being terrible for people to smoke. And if you're taking RSO, you're taking a concentrated version of that plant, right? So anything bad that's in it is concentrated. And a lot of you guys are taking a gram a day or more of this oil, and you're taking a gram a day of concentrated, I can't talk, a gram a day or more of something concentrated. So this is where things like RSO made with isopropyl is bad, because a little bit isn't probably going to do much, but if you're taking large amounts of it over a long period of time, you're loading your body with things that are literally doing the opposite of what you need, right? So be careful. A lot of people use isopropyl alcohol to make RSO because it's cheap and easy to get. It's not the move. It's not the move. And there's other better ways that just cost a little bit more money, and clean whole flour costs more money. So getting cheap RSO is probably not what you think it is. Please be careful. Please be careful. The number of people, I haven't honestly checked every single day, but it's been a few weeks now of almost every single day somebody messaging me and telling me they've been scammed by somebody for like thousands of dollars too. And there's a lot of people that'll call us up and say RSO didn't work for me. And a lot of the times they had that RSO that was made from that leftover biomass that was missing most of the medicinal components of it, right? So if you've taken RSO and it hasn't worked, what kind of RSO did you take? How was it made? What was the starting material? What kind of solvents did they use? You know, there's a whole bunch of variables to this stuff, and there's also a whole bunch of different ways that you can use RSO, and some ways that are better than others for certain illnesses. So join our school group. It's free, totally free. You can get a lot of organized information. There's downloadable PDFs, there's cancer protocols, there's dosing protocols, there's a bazillion videos on how to take it and ways to make it easier and how to handle the high, and so much more. There's so much more. There's stories and testimonials, and I speak much more freely on there. As I keep saying, I can speak the truth on there. I don't get shut down. If I tell you guys all the things I want to tell you on here, no one would see it. The videos would get taken down. So on school, I can speak freely. And if you need help in any way, you can set up a time to talk on our website. I'll drop the links in my link tree below in the comments. And yeah, just be careful where you get your oil from. Know your farmer. Seriously, know your farmer. And I understand, again, how hard that is, but it's important. And do this with everything else that you put in your body too. Sourcing things is so incredibly important. There's so much fuckery going on in this industry and in the world in general, that knowing how your food and your flowers and your oil and your medicines were made and grown is super, super important, especially if you want them to work. So yeah, join our school group. I have a lot more to say. And if anything that I've said to you guys about the Schumann resonance or the geomagnetic storms resonates for you, the Schumann resonance was going crazy all day yesterday, and then the Italian one was going crazy today. So if you're still here and you're listening, I'll say this. If you're new, the Schumann resonance measures the electromagnetic energy coming off the sun and into the earth, and our bodies are literally made of electromagnetic energy, so we absorb that stuff, especially when it's coming in larger amounts, like these Schumann resonance charts show. They also make me not be able to talk for some reason. Yesterday and today have been intense, and whenever the charts look like they look today, for example, I feel exhausted, and it was kicking my ass earlier. but I grounded. I find things that make me ground, that make me feel connected with the earth and feel good, and I do them. Things like play in the soil, which is why my nails are always dirty. Good music, meditation, lighting incense and pine resin and frankincense and Palo Santo and stuff like that helps a lot. There's a million ways you can ground. You can buy grounding tools. There's some that work, and then there's more fuckery in that industry too. I'm working on finding those for people. I have this one is a room harmonizer. Actually, so I have this thing sitting out here, which I hate. These things give off a ton of EMFs, and they can physically make you not feel well. And they do that to me. So I put this thing in, and it within a 60 foot radius, it helps harmonize the room. It stabilizes the frequencies. And I have equipment that tests this stuff to prove it's real. So I've been testing out all kinds of different things that can help with that too. But there's physical symptoms that we feel during these Schumann spikes and solar flares and geomagnetic storms that we've never been taught about. And they're documented, there's proof of all this shit, and they just don't teach us about this stuff because they don't really want us to know this stuff. We have something called a biofield that extends 6 feet around us, like our aura, 6 feet, and that biofield absorbs that electromagnetic energy coming off of things like this outlet and things like the sun and our body. We absorb that shit, and there's physical things that we experience, things like panic attacks, chest pain, heart palpitations, increased pain. There's all kinds of physical symptoms from this shit, and if you ground, you feel better. And so if this doesn't resonate for you, you can scroll, but if you're still here, something maybe about this resonates, so look up your biofield. Again, I can't really talk about this stuff on here, but I talk more about it on school. And one more thing, plants are sentient beings, literally. Like, this is real, this isn't woo-woo bullshit. Plants have consciousness, and they absorb energy too. Not only electromagnetic energy, because they are also made of electromagnetic energy, but they absorb the energy of the people that grew them and the people that harvested them and the people that made oil out of them. Their energy gets transferred into the plant and then into the oil that you're taking. Like, this is a real thing, and it works like this with a lot of other things too, again. But the other thing to remember too is the cannabis plant in particular absorbs all kinds of things, not just energy. It absorbs heavy metals and toxins and pesticides in the soil, absorbs like everything. And that also can get transferred into the medicine that it makes. So know your farmer, know your source, make sure you're getting clean oil, and don't get scammed. If somebody reaches out to you to try to sell you oil, you don't want it.